Why Lust is Poison for Men, and How to Weaponize It, A Samurai's Guide to Mastering Desire. Prologue. The defeated warrior. Feudal Japan. 1598. Kenshi was the most talented young samurai in his lord's army, fast, skilled, intelligent, destined for greatness. Yet for 3 years, he had been losing not battles, but himself. It started innocently. A glance at a beautiful woman in the market, a wandering thought, a moment of fantasy, then it became more frequent. The thoughts, the urges, the constant pull of lust. Soon, he was spending hours lost in fantasies. His training suffered, his focus fragmented, his vital energy, what the masters called ki, leaked away like water through cupped hands. Other warriors noticed. Kenshi trains half as much as he used to, they whispered. He's distracted, weak, something has changed. His master, the legendary warrior monk Takuan, finally summoned him. You have become a slave, Takuan said simply. Master, I don't understand. I've committed no crime. I train daily. You are enslaved to lust. It controls you, drains you, weakens you. I can see it in your eyes. You are elsewhere, always elsewhere, never here, never present, lost in phantoms of desire. Kenshi's face burned with shame. It was true. Every truth. Can I be free? Kenshi asked. Yes, but first you must understand what lust actually is, what it does, why it's poison, and then only then can you learn to weaponize it. The energy you waste on lust is the same energy that creates greatness. Sexual energy is life force itself. Right now, it controls you and drains you. But mastered, it becomes rocket fuel for your ambitions. Come, I will teach you what the ancient warriors knew. The teaching of the leaking vessel. Takuan led Kenshi to the monastery well. He filled 2 buckets with water. The first bucket was solid, well made, perfect. The second bucket had a small hole in the bottom. Water leaked out slowly but constantly. Carry these up the mountain, Takuan commanded. Both buckets must arrive full. Kenshi carried the buckets. The solid bucket remained full, but the leaking bucket, despite his efforts to walk faster, to be more careful, by the time he reached the summit, it was nearly empty. This, Takuan said, pointing to the leaking bucket, is you, your vital energy, your ki, your life force. It leaks constantly through lust, he explained. Every man has finite life energy. This energy can be invested in 3 ways. 1. Creation, building, achieving, manifesting, your purpose. 2. Maintenance, living, functioning, basic existence. 3. Leakage, wasted on phantoms, fantasies, empty pursuits. Lust is leakage. Every moment spent in lustful thoughts, every indulgence in fantasy, every surrender to base urges. You leak vital energy, and this energy doesn't return easily. It takes days, sometimes weeks, to replenish what you waste in moments. But Master, Kenshi protested, isn't sexual desire natural? Healthy desire is natural, but there is a difference between natural desire and lustful obsession. Natural desire arises, is acknowledged, and passes. Like hunger, you feel it, you address it appropriately, you move on. It doesn't control you. Lustful obsession is a loop. It arises. You feed it with attention, it grows stronger, demands more attention, you feed it more, it grows stronger still. You become trapped in the cycle. This is poison. The first truth. Lust is control. Takuan drew a circle in the dirt. The samurai seeks one thing above all, mastery over self, not mastery over others, not power over the world, mastery over your own mind, body, and spirit. Lust destroys this mastery. When you're controlled by lust, you are not free. You are a puppet dancing to the strings of desire. Ask yourself, can you go one day without lustful thoughts? 1 week? 1 month? If the answer is no, then lust controls you. You are not the master. You are the slave. Kenshi felt the truth of this like a sword through his chest. He couldn't go even one day. The thoughts came constantly, uninvited, overwhelming. This is the first truth of lust is poison. What you cannot control controls you. The second truth. Lust is energy drain. Now understand the mechanism, Takuan continued. Why does lust weaken you? Sexual energy is not separate from life energy. It's the same force. The Chinese call it di, the yogis call it o, the samurai call it ki. This energy is meant to fuel your entire life, your strength, your focus, your creativity, your willpower, your vitality. It's the engine that powers everything. But when you constantly leak this energy through lust, you have nothing left for actual living, nothing left for greatness. He pointed to Kenshi. Have you noticed? On days when you indulge heavily in lustful thoughts or actions, what happens? Kenshi thought back. I'm tired, foggy, unmotivated. Training feels harder. Exactly, because you've drained your battery, wasted your fuel on phantoms. You wonder why you lack drive, lack energy, lack focus? Look at where your energy is going. Into the void of lust. But isn't this energy meant to be used? Isn't celibacy unnatural? I'm not teaching celibacy. I'm teaching conservation and transmutation. There is a time and place for sexual expression in the context of genuine connection, love, procreation. This uses energy but also creates and exchanges energy. Lust is different. Lust is solitary, fantasy-based. and purely consumptive. It takes energy and gives nothing back. It's masturbation literally and metaphorically. You pleasure yourself at the cost of your power. The third truth, lust is mental slavery. The worst part, Takuan said, is what lust does to your mind. The lustful man is never present. He's always in fantasy, always elsewhere. A beautiful woman walks by, and instead of seeing her as a human being, he sees her as a fantasy object. His mind spins stories, scenarios, imaginations. He sits in meditation, his mind wanders to lust. He trains, his mind wanders to lust. He talks to his wife, his mind wanders to lust. He is never here, never now, always lost in the phantom realm of desire. This is mental slavery. Your mind is no longer yours. It's been hijacked by the most primitive part of your brain, the part that wants only to reproduce, regardless of cost. Kenshi recognized himself completely. Hours each day, lost in fantasy, never present, never focused, always elsewhere. This is the third truth. Lust fragments your mind, and a fragmented mind is a weak mind. How lust destroys you over the next week. Takuan taught Kenshi the specific ways lust acts as poison. Physical deterioration. Notice the men controlled by lust. They have a certain look, tired eyes, low energy, poor posture, weak handshake. They age faster. Why? Because they're constantly depleting their vital essence. The Taoists teach, conserve your Dijing sexual essence and it nourishes your body. Waste it, and your body deteriorates. Modern men wonder why they're tired, despite sleeping enough, eating well, exercising. The answer is often simple. They're leaking energy through lust. Mental fog. The lustful mind is a clouded mind, unable to focus deeply, unable to think clearly, always distracted by the next image, the next fantasy, the next temptation. Warriors require crystal clarity, split-second decisions, deep strategic thinking. The lustful warrior has none of this. He's operating at 50% mental capacity, always. Emotional instability. Lust creates an emotional roller coaster, the high of fantasy and indulgence, followed by the low of shame and depletion. Up and down, no stability, no center. The warrior must be emotionally stable, unmoved by highs and lows, centered in himself. Lust destroys this center, spiritual disconnection. The highest truth, lust disconnects you from your spiritual self, your higher purpose, your noble aims. When you're controlled by base desire, you cannot access higher consciousness. You're trapped in the lower chakras, the lower self. All your energy goes to serving the most primitive parts of yourself. Greatness requires accessing your higher self, but you can't reach high when you're stuck low. Relationship destruction. The lustful man cannot truly connect with women. He sees them as objects for his fantasy, not as human beings. Even with his own wife, he's not present. He's using her to fulfill his fantasies rather than connecting with her reality. This destroys intimacy, destroys genuine connection, leaves both people feeling empty. Life force depletion. Sum it all up, and lust depletes your life force. Every aspect of your vitality, physical, mental, emotional, spirit, you become a shadow of what you could be, and the tragedy. Most men don't even realize this is happening. They just wonder why life feels so hard, why they have no energy, why nothing seems to work. The answer is simple. They're poisoning themselves daily with lust. The modern understanding. Tokuan shared wisdom from traveling monks who'd studied with physicians. The body produces sexual essence at great metabolic cost. Creating it requires nutrients, energy, vitality. It's literally concentrated life force. When you constantly deplete this through lust, your body must constantly reproduce it. This takes enormous resources. Resources that could go to muscle building, brain function, healing, immunity. It's like having a factory that should be producing tools for building a palace. But instead, all production goes to making toys that you immediately throw away. The palace never gets built. Understanding temptation now, you understand lust is poison, Takuan said. But understanding alone won't free you. You must understand how the enemy works. The enemy, lust is not just a feeling. It's an intelligent force that wants to control you. It has strategies, tactics, it studies your weaknesses and exploits them. To defeat an enemy, you must know its strategies. Strategy 1. Bored, stressed, lonely. It doesn't attack when you're strong, focused, purposeful. It waits for vulnerability, then strikes defense. Recognize your vulnerable moments. Schedule them as high-risk times. During these times, implement extra defenses. Strategy 2. The gradual siege. Lust rarely says, "Go indulge right now." It's too smart for that. Instead, it suggests, just take a little peek, just a small fantasy, just browse for a moment. These small compromises weaken your walls. Before you know it, the castle has fallen. Death by 1,000 cuts. Defense. Recognize that there is no just a little. Each small yes makes the next yes easier. Draw absolute lines. Strategy 3. The false reward. Lust promises pleasure, relief, satisfaction. Indulge and you'll feel better. This is a lie. The pleasure is momentary. What follows is depletion, shame, weakness, and stronger cravings. It's not a reward. It's poison disguised as reward. Defense. Remember the aftermath. not the momentary pleasure, but the hours of depletion that follow. Strategy 4. The rationalization. Your mind will create elaborate justifications. Everyone does it. It's natural. It helps me relax. I need this. I deserve this. Just this once. These are the enemy's words, spoken in your own voice. Defense. Recognize rationalizations immediately. They all serve the enemy. Strategy 5. The cycle of shame. This is lust's masterpiece. After you indulge, you feel shame. The shame feels terrible. And what does lust offer to ease the shame? More indulgence? You've already failed. Might as well continue. Thus, one indulgence becomes a binge. One failure becomes a week of failures. Defense. Break the cycle. One failure is just one failure. Don't let it become a cascade. From slave to master, enough understanding, Takawan declared. Now we train. Mastery comes through practice, not knowledge. Week 1, awareness first. You must see the enemy clearly. For 1 week, do not try to resist lust. Simply observe it. When lustful thoughts arise, notice what triggered them. What time of day? What emotional state were you in? What was the thought pattern? What physical sensations accompanied it? Become a scientist studying lust. Detached observation, no judgment, just data collection. Kenshi practiced. He discovered patterns. Lust attacked most strongly in the evening, when tired. Boredom was a major trigger after stressful situations. Lust offered relief. The thoughts followed predictable progressions. Physical sensations started subtle but intensified rapidly. Good, Takawan said. You've mapped the enemy's territory. Now we fortify your defenses. Week 2. The practice of redirection. Sexual energy is powerful. You cannot simply suppress it. Suppression creates pressure that eventually explodes. Instead, you must redirect it. When sexual energy arises, you have choices. Physical redirection, intense exercise, push, running, martial arts, cold water exposure, shock the system. Redirect energy, breathing, channel energy up the spine, not out. Mental redirection. Focus on purpose. What are you building? Pour energy, their creative work, right? Create. Build something. Strategic thinking. Plan, visualize. Imagine your goals. Spiritual redirection. Meditation. Transform lust into pure awareness. Prayer. Contemplation. Connect to something higher. Gratitude practice. Shift from wanting to appreciating. The key. Sexual energy is just energy. It can fuel lust, or it can fuel greatness. You choose. Week 3. Environmental control. Warriors control their environment. They don't expose themselves to unnecessary danger. Modern men swim in an ocean of lust, then wonder why they're drowning. Stupidity. Environmental fortification. Remove all lust triggers from your space. Images, access to certain content, etc. Closing parenthesis. Control your visual environment. What you allow yourself to see. Manage your digital environment. Websites, social media, content consumption. Choose your physical environment wisely. Avoid places designed to trigger lust. Control your social environment. Limit time with people who encourage lust. This isn't weakness. This is strategic wisdom. The warrior doesn't test himself needlessly. He fights when victory matters, not for entertainment. Week 4. The transmutation practice. Now, the advanced teaching, transmutation, converting sexual energy into life force for other pursuits. The morning practice. Wake with sexual energy present, often strongest, then don't indulge. Instead, sit in meditation. Feel the energy in your lower body through breath and visualization. Draw it up your spine. Imagine it filling your heart. Becomes love and compassion. Draw it to your throat. Becomes creative expression. Draw it to your third eye. Becomes vision and insight. Draw it to your crown. Becomes spiritual connection. This is ancient Taoist and yogic practice. Sexual energy rises and transforms into higher forms of energy. Practice this daily. Over time, you'll notice the energy that once controlled you now fuels you. The secret of the masters. You've learned to resist lust, Takawan said after 3 months of training. Now learn to weaponize it. The greatest warriors, artists, leaders, creators, they all mastered this secret. Sexual energy, conserved and transmuted, becomes unstoppable drive. The physics of transmutation. Understand. Sexual drive is the most powerful biological force. It's literally designed to create life. This is enormous power. Most men waste this power on momentary pleasure, but the wise man redirects it to create his life's work. Napoleon, Alexander, Caesar, the great samurai, the legendary artists, all practiced some form of sexual energy conservation. They knew, conserve this force, and you can accomplish the seemingly impossible. The weaponization protocol. Domain. Sexual energy conserved increases. Physical strength, testosterone, optimization, endurance, and stamina, speed, overall vitality, and health. Magnetic physical presence. You become physically formidable, not from steroids or supplements, but from conserving your own vital essence. Mental domain. Sexual energy, transmuted, becomes laser focus and concentration. Genius and innovation. Strategic thinking and intelligence. Memory and mental clarity. Unstoppable mental drive. Your mind becomes a weapon. Sharp, clear, powerful. Emotional domain. Sexual energy mastered creates emotional stability and Centeredness, genuine confidence, not fake. Bravado, natural charisma, and magnetism, powerful presence that others feel. Inner peace and contentment, you become emotionally unshakable. Centered in yourself, spiritual domain, sexual energy elevated becomes connection to higher purpose, access to spiritual states, deep inner knowing, transcendent experiences, union with the divine, the monks and mystics. New, sexual energy is the same as spiritual energy. Conserve and raise it, and you access God. The 90-day transformation, I give you a challenge. Takawan said, 90 days of complete mastery over lust. No indulgence, no fantasy, no waste. Instead, every time sexual energy arises, you transmute it. Into training, become physically superior. Into study, become mentally superior. Into creation, build something meaningful. Into meditation, become spiritually evolved. 90 days, and you will become a different man. Kenshi's journey. Kenshi accepted the challenge. The first days were hardest. Days 1 to 7. The storm lusts attacked relentlessly. Every trigger seemed amplified. His mind rebelled. His body craved. The temptation felt overwhelming, but he practiced awareness. Redirection. Transmutation. When lust arose, he dropped and did 50 push-ups, or meditated, or trained, or worked on his craft. He channeled the energy elsewhere. Days 8 to 14. The flat line, the intensity decreased. His libido seemed to vanish. No energy, no drive, nothing. He felt empty. Takuan explained. This is normal. Your body is recalibrating. Healing from years of depletion. Push through. The energy will return. Stronger. Days 15 to 30. The rising power energy began returning, but different. Not the frantic, desperate energy of lust. Something deeper, more stable, more powerful, he noticed. Training felt easier. His mind was clearer. He had energy to spare. His eyes looked brighter. His presence felt different. Days 31 to 60. The momentum, power built upon power. Each day, he felt stronger, more focused, more capable. His training improved dramatically. Skills that took months to learn, he now mastered in weeks. His mind was sharp as his blade. His presence commanded respect without trying. Other warriors noticed. What has changed with you? They asked. You're different, stronger. Days 61 to 90. The transcendence. By day 90, Kenshi had become unrecognizable from his former self. Physically, stronger, faster, more vital. His body had transformed. Mentally, crystal clear focus. Strategic genius, learning at incredible speed, emotionally unshakable center, genuine confidence, natural charisma. Spiritually connected to purpose, accessing states of consciousness he'd never known. Master, he said to Takuan, I understand now. What I thought was desire was actually my own power, leaking away, conserved and transmuted. It's rocket fuel. Yes, Takuan smiled. You've learned what few men ever learn. Your greatest weakness, mastered, becomes your greatest strength. Living with the power now, you have the power, Takuan said. The question is, what will you do with it? Some men think the goal is permanent celibacy. This is not the path for most. The path is conscious mastery. You now control your sexual energy. It doesn't control you. This means, you choose when and how to express it, in the context of genuine love and connection at appropriate times. Not compulsively from abundance, not neediness as conscious choice, not unconscious drive. You choose when to conserve and transmute. During periods of intense work, or when building something important, when training, when seeking spiritual advancement, the power is in the choice. The mastery is in the control. The warrior's relationship with women, a question Kenshi asked. How does this change relationships with women? Completely, Takuan replied. The lustful man sees women as objects for his desire, fantasies to consume. This creates terrible relationships based on using, not connecting. The man who masters lust sees women as human beings. He can appreciate beauty without being controlled by it. He can connect genuinely, not from neediness but from wholeness. Paradoxically, this makes him far more attractive. Women sense the difference between the needy, lustful man and the centered, powerful man. They're drawn to the latter. The temptation returns. Warning, Takuan said seriously. The enemy never fully dies. Lust will return, testing you, especially when you're weak, stressed, or off guard. The difference now, you have tools. You have awareness, you have practice. When lust attacks, you recognize it immediately. You know its strategies. You implement your defenses. You transmute the energy. You may slip occasionally. This is human. What matters is, you don't let one slip become a cascade. You get back up immediately. 5 years later, 5 years after his transformation, Kenshi had become a master warrior. Not just skilled, but legendary. Young warriors sought him out. Teach us your secret. How did you become so powerful? Kenshi would take them to the well with the 2 buckets, one solid, one leaking. Which bucket are you? He would ask. And he would teach them what Takuan had taught him. The 8 principles of sexual energy. Mastery. 1. Lust is control. What you cannot control, controls you. Mastery begins with recognizing slavery. 2. Lust is energy drain. Your vital life force leaks through lust. Conservation is power. 3. Lust is mental slavery. It fragments your mind, keeps you from presence and clarity. Point 4. Sexual energy is life force. The same energy that creates physical life can create your entire life. Point 5. Suppress, not transmute. Don't fight sexual energy. Redirect it to higher purposes. 6. Environment is strategy. Control your environment or it will control you. Point 7. The 90-day transformation. Complete mastery for 3 months changes everything. 8. Conscious choice is freedom. The goal isn't permanent celibacy, but conscious mastery. The teaching? Spread skinchies. Students became powerful warriors in their own right. They taught others. The wisdom spread. Men who'd been slaves to lust became masters of their domain. Weak men became strong. Distracted men became focused. Depleted men became vital. All through understanding one simple truth. Sexual energy is power. Waste it on lust, and you waste your life. Master it, and you master yourself. Epilogue. The Modern Man, Los Angeles. 2024. Marcus sat in his apartment, scrolling mindlessly through social media, clicking from one provocative image to another, feeling depleted, tired, wondering why he had no energy despite sleeping enough. In desperation, he searched, "Why do I have no energy as a man?" He found an obscure blog post about a 16th century samurai named Kenshi, who'd discovered that lust was draining his power. Marcus read the entire story, then read it again. The next morning, he started the 90-day challenge. Day 30, he noticed his energy returning, his mind clearing, his focus sharpening. Day 60, he'd accomplished more in 2 months than in the previous 2 years. Projects completed, skills learned, life transformed. Day 90, he was a different man. The fog had lifted, the power had returned. He understood. For years he'd been leaking his life force through lust. Conserved and transmuted, that same energy became rocket fuel. He started teaching other men. The ancient wisdom spread in modern form. Your sexual energy is your life force. Waste it, and you waste yourself. Master it, and you unlock power you didn't know you had. Conclusion. Your choice right now. You face the same choice Kenshi faced.